All right. So I wanted to kind of, I don't know. I just want to put my thoughts out there on something. Low end figures, and also kind of mid range figures, like I don't know, like $50. You know, I guess would be like sort of like a mid range 50, 60, and went from like that general area to kind of all the way down to like lower, like $20 ish figures. I guess 20, 25. A lot of people are getting really dissatisfied with some of these lines, namely Marvel Legends, also McFarlane Toys, like they're like DC Multiverse or whatever. But why? What is the thing? Most people, I think, are saying it's sort of like the penny pinching. I'm doing like air quotes with my hands right now. You can't see me. I'm not on camera, but I'm like doing it anyways because I don't know of a better term, but like penny pinching, for lack of a better term. Do they really give you not enough stuff? Like, I mean, I'll tell you right now, yeah, like, I think the penny pinching, yeah, is probably a factor. It is probably a factor. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if it's as much of a factor as some people may say. Um, let's look at the maximum Spidey. It comes with, he does come with more web lines. That is a factor. More paint is a factor. It is. The articulation. I think he does have slightly more joints. I think he has toe joints and like an extra joint at the bottom of the neck. I think that's it. I think that's all they really added from the usual. So that is something. He does come with a decent amount of accessories, kind of. I mean, he does come with that stand for that little weird looking projectile people are always making fun of. That stand, I think, is articulated. It has like some joints on it. If that has to be assembled like in a factory or something like that, that's technically like a labor cost. So I don't know. It does kind of have some cost in there. Um. So I don't know, but even then, I do see the point though, right? I definitely see the penny pinching. I do understand it though. And then of course we have the reuse, which is another big issue in the line. I would say it's just the same mold all the time. Every figure's always got the same body every time, and every time we finally get a new mold, it's not when we do actually get a new mold, it's not actually executed that well. And that leads me into my next point, which is kind of one of my big kind of main points here that I want to make here. Is one of the big problems with a line like Marvel Legends is the way things are executed. It's not because they didn't put enough accessories in the box. It's not because they didn't give you enough of this or that. It's because they did something, but they didn't do it right. The sculpts are just bad. And I'm not the only one saying this. I see a lot of people saying this. Everyone's going on about the faces look weird, the heads are too big, the muscles look weird, the body's not the right shape, they're too flat, the musculature is not right, they're not the right shape. Always people saying this. And I agree. From what I've seen, some of them look pretty weird. And the articulation, they'll take just like a basic like ball joint. It's like, okay, all you need to, just a ball joint, and when they do it and it doesn't work, like they'll do like their torso. I think the maximum Spidey had a. Let me double check real quick. I thought I had it open. There we go. Yeah, he does have like a ball joint, I believe, for like the upper torso. Like they'll do like a joint like that, for example. Which is the way to do a torso. Just have to put like a double ball peg in there, and then if you do it right, you'll get a lot of range. Then the McFarlane toys do this as well. They'll put it in there. They'll have it in there. Like it's got the ball joint in there. But the way they design it, they just didn't design it well. They didn't execute it well. And now the thing doesn't move right. I don't know if the Maximum Spidey is a specific example of that. I'm just saying. A lot of the figures are like that. So it's frustrating to see that. It's not like... That's my biggest problem with it, honestly. If it was like a $50 Spider-Man figure that has a decent amount of accessories, but it was like really sculpted really, really well, and it was painted well, and I'd be like, yeah, it looks like a decent Spider-Man. And that sculpt is definitely slightly better than some of the other ones, but not by that much. It's still not perfect. And I think a lot of people are just saying like, well, it's not the design team, it's the higher ups because of the penny pinching, the cutting costs, the greedy company. They're not giving us value, not giving us enough accessories or whatnot. And I get that sentiment. They don't want to kind of criticize the little guy. They want to aim at the big guy, the big faceless company. And I get that sentiment. But we also have to be objective. We have to be truthful. We have to be, we can't just BS people. I think there is some criticism to be had here. I mean, it's just when we have people complaining that much about those things, in my opinion, I think the sculpts, they're not pretty figures to me. They're not great figures, just in the way that they're made. That's the big thing. I will say though, I mean, you could make the argument that that is also part of the penny pinching, I guess, though, because when you buy something cheaper, you get something that is not put together as well, because you're more likely. You're more likely to buy something from someone who isn't as good at making that product. It is kind of part of the penny pinching, I guess. The cost does probably, to some degree, perhaps it probably does factor into the lack of expertise. In fact, the Maximum Spidey, which is more expensive, does have a little bit better of a sculpt, I would say, which is in line with that argument. However, if I were to completely take a random guess, I would guess that's the same people, because it's still Marvel Legends. I'm guessing it's the same people on the team. So why would it be executed any differently? Why would they all of a sudden, they can sculpt better? I guess because they can kind of take more time doing these figures because they're not released as regularly. I could see that argument. But if the Maximum figures are supposed to, if that eventually becomes their main offering and they start getting released more regularly, I don't think the argument holds that much water. But nevertheless, none of it really matters. The point is, my point is that figures are ugly. It's basically what I'm saying, and they don't articulate it well. And it's not because they didn't put enough joints or enough engineering or enough moving pieces in there. It's just because what they have is just not well done, unfortunately. Especially, when you compare to some other figures, like the Jada is the obvious example, right? Their figures look pretty solid for the price. I mean, really, there's just no comparison to some other products out there. The other thing I want to point out, that they are, no matter how you slice it, these companies, they are trying to sell to collectors and kids. They're kind of trying to hit both ends there, and that's hurting the line. If you want to please two separate people, you know what I'm saying? Like let's say one person wants a well done steak and one person wants a rare steak, but you only have one steak to cook, and they gotta share it. Okay, should I cook it rare or well done? Well, you're probably gonna end up making it medium, somewhere in between. And both people are gonna kind of like it, but they're just not gonna, it's not gonna be perfect for either one. That's just, they're kind of trying to keep it kind of like a weird, cheap toy, I think, but then also trying to kind of make a collector toy, but it's kind of weird. I just don't think it's working that well. But the other thing is, again, none of it really matters. All this stuff does not really matter. It really doesn't. Because again, at the end of the day, there's other offerings out there that are far superior. I don't have any of the Storm Arena figures yet. I was thinking about getting them maybe, but I don't know, from what I've seen and from what I have heard, they seem pretty darn good. And and the Jada toys, man, look pretty good, man. I just don't think you can compare it, and I think that's why a lot of people are gravitating towards those, and a lot of these indie import companies are doing really good. There's this one company, Keep Going Studio, I think they're called. I got this one figure from them, man. It was $50. This thing comes with so many accessories. The Sonata Yukimura paint is so good. It's literally got a. This sounds silly, but it's actually really well executed. She's got like a white T-shirt on, right? And the way they painted it, they actually painted like some like tan on there to make it seem like it's a little bit like sheer or like slightly see-through, like maybe you almost have like a wet T-shirt thing going on. It's, which I know sounds silly, but it's actually really well executed. It's actually, say what you will, but it's actually well done. Like I'm just, and the skull, that the articulation is really, for $50, that's the price of a Maximum Spidey, and this thing feels like a figure arts. I mean, like it feels like, it's like a really, I don't know. There's just better stuff out there. There's this video the Valaverse channel has. They just posted. I recommend going to that channel, looking at that video. It's like an interview with Jim Preziosi. I don't know how to say his name. He's one of the guys from Four Horsemen Studios, apparently. And that's what he was talking about. He was talking about indie companies and how they're doing so well. Because some of these companies are producing these well-executed figures with loads of paint, articulation, and accessories for these great prices. And there's just, that's how it is, right? But the one thing I want to say, what comes next year? I mean, what do we do, right? Well, I think there's a revolution coming for mid-range and cheap range kind of figures, or I guess it's really kind of, the revolution's already started. It's kind of already started because there's already so much out there already. And the one thing I do want to go over, and people have explained this 1,000 times. 1,000 people have said this 1,000 times, but it is true. We do have to kind of vote with our money. I understand that people do really love these Marvel characters and they want figures of them, but if you really, really want a great Spider-Man figure, you have to, ironically, not buy Spider-Man figures. You need, what I'm saying? You need to be patient. You have to let these figures understand that they got to make something better, or wait for another company to take over and make their own figures or something. It takes a lot of patience, but we do have to show some disciplines. I get it. We're adult children. We get excited, but jokes aside, we do have to be responsible, and we have to have self-control. We have to think critically and objectively. And we should be able to, like, I want to move action figures forward, right? Are you passionate about, do you like action figures, or are you actually passionate about action figures and toys? I'm actually very interested in action figures and toys. They're very interesting to me, and I'm very passionate about them. And I want to think about what things are going to be like in this hobby or pastime, whatever you want to call it. I want to think about what it's going to be in 10 years. What direction do we want to push it? I want to push it in the right direction. I want to make things better, not worse. And on that note, I am curious about what company do we, what company would be best to make a low-end or mid-range Marvel or DC line of figures? To theoretically, like, replace Marvel Legends or DC Multiverse. It would be Jada, Storm, maybe NECA. Give them something to do. I haven't seen NECA. I feel like they're not doing that much stuff in a while. Like, no, I feel like you go to Big Bad Toy Store, there'd be like a NECA figure on the front, that big front picture. Like every other day, like a NECA figure. And now it's like, I feel like it's just like some obscure Ninja Turtle thing every month, like once a month. It's like, I don't know. NECA needs to make like a resurgence. Anyways, what about or maybe an indie import company? Like the one I was talking about, like Keep Going Studio, something like that. Would that be good? I don't know. So I don't know. I just wanted to kind of get my spiel on that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it's just, that's the thing. It's just a matter of a company that has artists that are passionate and actually want to do this and want to make really great figures. And is that company enabling them, or is that company kind of rushing them, or or doing whatever? Like, it just, what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what goes on behind the curtains at Hasbro, and honestly, I don't really care, because whatever it is they're doing isn't working. So I want to spend my money on the companies that really seem like they're passionate, putting love into figures. That's what it's about. That's what I want to see. I want to move things forward in the right direction, and I hope that everyone else wants to do that too, because I'm already kind of rambling, but yeah, moving in the right direction, moving forward. Thank you.